Though Alexander considered this location ideal for his great city, it presented considerable challenges. Too difficult to access during storms, the surrounding swamps threatened disease, and the limestone soil prevented the growth of healthy crops. However, due to the influence of his mentor Aristotle, Alexander the Great recognized that the true value was its strategic emplacement. Alexander knew that in controlling Pelusium to the east, Memphis to the south, and his crowning glory Alexandria to the west, he would create a triangular stronghold, allowing him to control the entire delta while giving him access to the Mediterranean. The Great Walls of Alexandria had a humble beginning. Lacking chalk to outline the future city's foundations, architects were forced to use flour instead. Clouds of migrating birds swept down and ate the flour, erasing the plans. This prompted Alexander to seek guidance from the oracles, who reassured him that his future city was destined to feed a large population.
Right now, it's first how to find the...
Excavations led by Mahmud Bey el-Falaki in the 19th century revealed that the wall enclosure measured approximately 5.2 kilometers in length and 2.2 kilometers in width. It was roughly 9 meters in height.
Okay, it's good. It's pretty short. This is pretty fun. Novaya.
These formidable ancient walls would resist a number of attacks, including fending off the king of Syria in 169 BCE. It wasn't until 295 CE that they eventually fell to Roman Emperor Diocletian, and this only after 8 months of relentless assault.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's the point of going back. Sorry, talking better now.
Alexandria's principal architect, Dinocrates, chose a Hippodamian grid plan. The grid maximized functionality, with wide, straight roads and canals running beneath them. Alexander recognized the military value of the city's design. The wide, parallel streets gave him optimal surveillance of the city, while allowing the unobstructed flow of troops.
That's cool. I wasn't actually even paying attention. Ew. It's poop. I'm actually made like a file. I'm gonna actually take a picture. And you'll never know if it's deleted or not. Whoa. Oh my god. I do have a hardcore player. Seeing a history fan. I'm a hardcore player. No. I'm not a history fan. Well, I am of the world. Not mostly because I've learned so much about America already that now we have to do other history, which I would rather probably like. But I probably know about more I know about ancient Egypt and America a lot. It's because Egypt I just know a lot also from the game, and also just know a lot. And America I just learned forever. Egypt got your own perspective. Yeah. What about the sign? There, the city. There's the sign. That's cool. Is there other pictures that I have? My photos. Okay, so not my other ones that I take in regular videos. So this one. My photo. Oh, you can't even see it. Better. Okay, so I forget how much it doesn't zoom in. Sadly, it can't be built for use people. I don't care about the music.
A central corridor ran from the Mediterranean's north port down to Lake Mareotis to the south. This thoroughfare acted as an unobstructed link for commercial trade and travel between the two ports. Many of the streets were bordered with grand buildings and parks, including Canopic Street, with its impressive gate bordering the eastern end.
This is like really good for education if you were doing Egypt and you're close to a test.
Alexandria was most likely built upon an already existing Egyptian village. Upon its completion, the Egyptians reviled the city, refusing to call it by its founder's name. Instead, they called it Raked, the building, as a mark of disdain, which was later Hellenized into Rakotis. Despite this, the name Alexandria would remain.
2014. Oh my god, welcome to this video by Assassin's Creed. I know it's awesome. Why is it so that other person doesn't animus? I mean, that's where okay. Yeah. Okay. There have no levels, right? Okay. I was just wondering if it would be like that. Alexandria, Egypt. Romans. I'd love to actually do that. Kitty life would be nice too. First one. First one here. Oh, ew. That's gross. Oh no, I have to hold it. 8. Oh my god. That's so frustrating. I mean, I think this was in order, but I only do one more before I end the video. It's kind of sad that we can't fight them. It's kind of nice, because then it doesn't actually hurt one of the soldiers, and then it just wastes time. You can see, well, that's where Big Bag and I think I are from. Understand there's on my change. Start to work.
Welcome to Osiris, the first mummy.
That must be creepy for the people. Why doesn't like this
The oldest mummies recovered date from the Old Kingdom, though Egyptologists believe that mummification was in use much earlier than that. At first, the body was mummified through environmental desiccation, by leveraging the dryness of the environment and the heat of the climate. Early experimentations in mummification were conducted with the use of resin made from tree sap. Strips of linen were only used on some superficial parts of the epidermis of the hands or jaw.
Oh, it's closed. I can't read the channel. I don't know where I was paying attention.
Ideologically, the will to preserve the body is not explained in any way until 3600 BCE. This is when the Egyptian belief that the body housed the soul was finally documented for modern Egyptologists to eventually decipher. It was not until the arrival of the myth of Osiris in the Egyptian religion around the 5th dynasty that mummification was thoroughly conceptualized. The practice was thereafter grounded in both a mythological and ideological point of view.
Oh yeah, it's just saying that. Surprise, I want to submit it again.
Osiris was mainly known as the god of the dead and the god of resurrection. The most well-known Genesis myth concerning Osiris is that of his dismemberment.
Government. dead and resurrection. Actually, I have this thing
It
in
is
my
Plutarch
class called
who gives the
Sages
most
Gems that I'll talk about
simplified and
after.
complete summary of the story. Within Egyptian mythology, Osiris represented the first king to rule Egypt. Jealous of his power, his brother Seth attempted to usurp his throne. After several unsuccessful attempts, Seth succeeded in killing his brother by dismembering him and scattering the pieces of his body all over Egypt. Isis,
Yeah.
the great of magic, traveled all over Egypt in search of the pieces of her husband's body. After a long search, she recovered all the pieces save for his manhood, as it was eaten by a fish.
So in this stages of Stamp thing I was talking about, we basically have to beat things, and I'm part of the Ancient Legion group, also with Nick, and then basically we have to
Isis
do
then
stuff
reassembled the body of her husband by binding it together with strips of linen. Aided by her sister Nephthys, another powerful magician, they gave Osiris the breath of life. This not only brought him back from the dead, but also allowed him to recover his virility long enough to impregnate Isis, thus ensuring his succession before, once more, dying. Thus Horus was born.
And then you have to trash up those things.
The ritual used to bring Osiris back to life essentially depicts how he became the first mummy. It is why, on the sarcophagi of kings, we often find Isis and Nephthys represented as the magicians who restore life to the deceased.
Cool. So it's the first mummy. I learned about Roman. Wait, what? Character selection. Julius Caesar. I could be Julius Caesar, I could be Cleopatra, I could be him. Maybe Lila. Oh, that's a her husband. God, the brother was her husband. Oh, Pharaoh of Egypt. Oh my god, Xenophia and Balak. I could be his son. Oh, who are you then? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like easier shot at weapons. Or you. I think I may now remember you. Egyptian. Roman soldier. Greek nobleman. So I Alexandria. Alexandria, she was from. I saw it look like that. Oh, look at that. That was my new outfit. Never mind that. I'll be a Roman soldier. How about that? Is that okay? That's pretty cool. There's a lot of people too. Whoa. Okay, yeah, I'm head to that. That's very low. So anyway, since we ended these today, guys, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, that's all for today. Bye.